Session is now called to order. Everybody is requested to rise for the singing of the national anthem.
Bayang magiliw, perlas ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, buyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka masisingil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bakaw, may nilang ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kisap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagdidinig, ang bituin at araw niya kailanman may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng marahangin pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na patay mga akin, magmamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Please remain standing for a minute of silent prayer and meditation. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we call the roll of members. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Secretary General is directed to call the roll.
Roll call of members, honorable representatives, Abaya, Abayon, Abellanosa, Abu, Abueg, Asharon, Akop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adiong, Adbincula, Agaraw, Agabaw, Aglipay Villar, Albano, Alcala, Alejano, Almario, Almonte, Alonte, Alvarez Franz, Alvarez Mercedes, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante, Amatong, Andaya, Angara Castillo, Antonino, Antonio, Aquino Magsaysay, Aragones, Arbizon, Arcillas, Arenas, Atienza, Aumentado, Bagaw, Bagatsing, Bagilat, Banal, Barbers, Barsaga, Batawil, Batocabe, Bautista Bandigan, Belaro, Belmonte Feliciano, Belmonte Jose Christopher, Belmonte Ricardo, Benitez, Bernos, Bertiz, Biazon, Billones, Biron, Bolilla, Bondoc, Bordado, Bravo Anthony, Bravo Maria Vida, Brosas, Bulot Begtang, Cagas, Calderon, Calixto Rubiano, Caminero, Campos, Canama, Cari, Casilaw, Castelo, Castro Franz, Castro Pred, Catamco, Cayetano, Celeste, Serapica, Ceriles, Chavez, Chipeco, Coanco, Collantes, Cortés, Fortuna, Cosalán, Crisólogo, Cua, Cuaresma, Cueva, Dalipe, Datol, Daza, de Jesús, de Venecia, de Vera, de Pensor, del Mar, del Rosario, de Los Montalia, Lima para Abdullah, Lima para Khalid, Duabit, Durano, Di, Elago, Enverga, Erice, Erigel, Ermita Buhain, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Eusebio, Ebardone, Fariñas, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet, Ferrer Luis, Feriol, Florendo, Flores, Fortun, Fortuno, Fuentebella, Garbin, García Gwendolyn, García José Enrique, García Albano, Garin Richard, Garin Sharon, Gasataya, Gachalian, Heron, Go Ana Cristina, Go Mark, Gomez, Gonzaga, Gonzales Alexandria, Gonzales Aurelio, Gonzales Fernando, Goriseta, Gulias, Hernandez, Herrera D, Hopper, Halos Hos, Javier, Ho, Honghun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lagman, Lanete, Laugan, Lazatin, Leacion, Lee, Lim Kaishong, Labregat, Lopez Benhar, Lopez Carlo, Lopez Manuel, Loyola, Macapagal Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Manalo, Mangawang, Mangudadato Suharto, Mangudadato Sahid, Marcoleta, Marcos, Mariño, Marquez, Martinez, Matugas, Meliana, Mending, Mendoza, Mercado, Mirasol, Montoro, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Carlo, Nolasco, Núñez Malañaon, Waminal, Ocampo, Olivares, Ong Edwin, Ong Henry, Ortega Pablo, Ortega Bini, Aquiao, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panganiban, Panotes, Papandayan, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Primicia Sagabas, Kimbo, Radaza, Ramirez Sato, Ramos, Relampagos, Revilla, Roapuno, Robes, Rocamora, Rodriguez Isidro, Rodriguez Maximo, Roman, Romero, Romualdez, Romualdo, Roque Hari, Roque Rogelio, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sahali, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Salon, Sambar, Sandoval, Santos Recto, Sarmiento Cesar, Sarmiento Edgar, Sabellano, Sema, Xiao, Silverio, Singson, Sonsing Estrelita, Sonsing Horacio, Suarez, Si Alvarado, Tambunting, Tan Angelina, Tan Milagrosa, Tan Cherny, Tejada, Tebes, Ianco, Ting, Tino, Tolentino, Treñas, Tugna, Tupas, Ti, Umali, Unabia, Ungab, Unico, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Uy Barreta, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velarde, Velasco, Velasco Catera, Veloso, Vergara, Villafuerte, Villanueva, Villaraza Suarez, Villarica, Villarin, Violago, Yap Arthur, Yap Melesio, Yap Victor, Yu, Zamora Maria Carmen, Zamora Ronaldo, Sarate, Subiri. Mr. Speaker, the roll call shows that 198 members responded to the call.
With 198 responding to the call, the chair declares the presence of a quorum. Majority Leader,
Mr. Speaker, I move for the deferment of the approval of journal of the previous session. So moved,
is
Speaker.
there any objection to the motion? The chair is none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we now proceed with the reference of business and request that the Secretary General to be directed to read the titles of bills and resolutions and first reading, as well as the communications and committee reports. So moved, Speaker.
The Secretary General is directed to read the title of the bills and resolutions for first reading.
Reference of business, bills on first reading. House Bill 6721, amending Republic Act Number 3019, Representative Erice.
To the Committee on Revisions of Laws.
House Bill 6722, mandating employers to provide health cards to their employees, Representative Erice.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill 6723, mandating creation of cheap yet accessible houses for street dwellers, homeless, beggar, and poor citizens, Representative Erice.
To the Committee on Housing and Urban Development.
House Bill 6724, changing the name Lupon School of Fisheries, Lupon Davao Oriental to Davao Oriental Polytechnic Institute, Representative Almario.
To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill 6725, establishing LTO district offices in Balingasag, Misamis Oriental. Representative Bunabia.
to the Committee on Transportation,
Resolution, House Resolution 1486, seeking creation of Executive Branch Interagency Task Force, revision of laws on land transportation, road safety. Representative Herrera D.
to the Committee on Transportation,
Messages from the Senate, message dated November 22, 2017, informing the House Senate, November 20, designated Senators Poe, Soto, Ercito, and Aquino as conference committee, House Bill numbers 5211, 5063, 64, and 4636.
to the Committee on Rules,
Message dated November 28, 2017, informing the House that Senate on even date passed Senate Bill 1592.
to the Committee on Rules,
Message dated November 28, 2017, informing the House that Senate even date designated Senators Angara, Recto, Legarda, Subiri, and Rilon as conference by Bicameral Conference Committee in the supervision of Senate Bill 1592 and House Bill 5636.
to the Committee on Rules,
Communications, letter dated October 19, 2017, of Ronald Ray, Regional Director, Regional Office, COA, submitting 2016 AR Barrio Water Districts, Region 5.
to the Committee on Appropriations,
Letter dated October 24, 2017, Catalino Cui, or Presidential Dialogue, submitting technical reports, financial fund utilization accomplishments.
to the Committee on Appropriations,
Letter dated 30 October 2017, Manuel Legugo, Undersecretary OIC DSW, submitting Pantawid Pamilya Accomplishment Report.
to the Committee on Social Services,
Letter dated October 2017, of Minerva Morales, SUC President Rick Anduanes, submitting status allotment release obligation balance to CSU and quarterly final fiscal reports.
to the Committee on Appropriations,
Committee report, report number 494, Committee on Basic Education, Culture, Appropriation, and Ways and Means on House Bill 3222.
to the Committee on Rules,
Report number 495, Committee for Foreign Affairs, House Resolution 646.
to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader,
Mr. Speaker, before we resume to the unfinished business, let me recognize first the guests of Honorable Rogelio J. Espina of Lone District of Biliran, the 8 mayors, Honorable Rodolfo Espina,
please
Chairman.
rise to be recognized.
Honorable Rodolfo Espina, Chairman of the Mayor's League of Biliran Chapter, Honorable Gerard Roger Espina, Mayor of Capital Town of Naval, Biliran, Honorable Uldarico Morocol, Municipality of Maripipi, Honorable Lorenzo Riveldes, Municipality of Colaba, Honorable Richard Aguros, Municipality of Almeria, Honorable Grace Casil, Municipality of Biliran, Honorable Eulalio Moderazo, Municipality of Caibiran, Honorable Edwin Masbang, Municipality of Kabugayan.
Welcome to the House of
Guest
Representatives.
of Honorable Roger Espina. So,
Majority Leader,
Mr. Speaker, that be acknowledged also the guests of Honorable Nancy A. Katamko, Representative of 2nd District of North Cotabato. The following are Amas, the Barangay of Amas, Fidela Oceanas,
please rise to be recognized.
Barangay Omazon, Rosemary Cartalia, Balabag, Maria Teresita Ramos, Dory V. Campana, Marjorie Renegado, Karen C. Lozano, Leanne Likayan, Jennifer Retiza, Imelda Dangli, Irinea Guillermo, Odita Duran, Wilma Cuino, Teresita Razonabe, Elena Aliera, Jomeiti Ibanez, Pasiano R. Magdugo, Veronica P. Taiza, Evelyn L. Kamat, Rowena C. Alemania, Ellen B. Alado, Rosita P. Mizal, Luzvina S. Siwane, Caroline C. Emenzita, Marlene L. Aquino, Jocelyn H. Abranilla, Genevieve Baclay, Zamira Marzado, Leticia M. Alsingangan, and Javier G. De La Peña, Abdul Patadon Jr., Cherry Abellano, Ernesto Ligaspi, Eileen Rose Barrete, Asorti Roland, Elmarie De Jose, Grisaline Cebuza, Rosalie L. Nahilat, Rosalina De Jose, Laurena B. Ginaang, and Grace Dano. So, the guest of Honorable Nancy Catamco, 2nd District of North Cotabato.
Welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader.
So, Speaker, under the calendar of unfinished business, I move that we resume consideration of the House Bill joint resolution in the committee report number and submitted to the committee. And for its purpose, may I ask the Secretary General to be directed to read the title of the bill.
The
So moved.
Secretary General is directed to read the title of the bill.
House Bill number 6425, an act prescribing an urgent, comprehensive, and integrated land-based traffic management policy to effectively address the traffic congestion crisis in Metro Manila, Metropolitan Cebu, and Metropolitan Davao, and appropriating funds therefore.
Mr. Speaker, the parliamentary of the status of the bill, on the period of sponsorship, will recognize the DOTR Chairman, Congressman Cesar Sarmiento. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Cesar Sarmiento, Chairman of Committee on Transportation, is recognized to sponsor the bill.
Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, Majority Leader, and fellow colleagues in the House of Representatives, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. It is my honor to sponsor today House Bill number 6425. It is my honor to report to you the substance of this 44-section bill aimed at solving traffic congestion that has been pestering the lives of our people for years. Many see our traffic situation as a hopeless case already. But my dear colleagues, we hope against hope that our traffic crisis can still be solved. Hence, we poured in time and effort to craft this Traffic Crisis Act, which we believe is our urgent, immediate, and comprehensive response to the traffic crisis. I therefore beg your attention and patience this afternoon as I present the contents of this bill in the following outline. 1, the status quo or the current transportation situation. 2, introduction into the Traffic Crisis Act. And 3, how do we solve the traffic crisis, which will obviously be the meat of my report to you this afternoon. This portion will consist of organizational structure, priority projects, needed systems, processes, support mechanism, oversight, and transparency and duration. The status quo or the current transportation situation. Let us start with the status quo of which we are all familiar with. We have noticed, for one, that our organizational structure is not responsive. Development of cities normally means an increase in the volume of people and, in some cases, cars. But any resulting traffic congestion can be managed by a strong policy making, planning, programming, coordinating, implementing, regulating, and enforcement authority on land transportation. Sadly, while we have various existing land transportation agencies, we have the following: the Department of Transportation, the Land Transportation Office, the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board, the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, and the PNP Highway Patrol Group. Not one agency can adequately control and manage land-based traffic in our streets. Structurally, we have the DOTR, the primary entity tasked to develop dependable networks of transportation. Under it, we both have the LTO, tasked with enforcing traffic laws on top of ensuring the quality of our drivers and vehicles, and that LTFRB regulating PUVs on top of prescribing routes. But we have separate entities like the PNP HPG that promotes road safety on our highways and can be tapped to enforce traffic laws. And we also have the MMDA under the Office of the President, which sets policies and implement traffic enforcement operations in Metro Manila only. The catch for MMDA: the MMDA, however, has no police power as the Supreme Court has established in the case of MMDA versus Bel Air. As demonstrated, our government is fragmented when it comes to traffic. Even when there is coordination among these agencies, the linkage is obviously not strong enough as their efforts do not translate to urgent, systematic, and comprehensive solutions to congestion issues. We see no significant improvements until now. Aside from this, we have also noticed that our government is obsessed with grand infrastructure and transportation projects that have long gestation periods and that will even worsen the traffic while they are being implemented. We are tempted to think that when all of these are implemented after 3, 5, or even 10 years, assuming they will, the traffic crisis is no more. However, while we believe in the importance of building more subways, railways, and bus rapid systems, infrastructure is only a portion of the solution. What we need immediately are systems, mechanisms, and processes to complement these grand projects. We cannot simply tell the public to wait for more years while we build. Ubos na ang pasensya ng taong bayan. Their daily commute is too much of a burden already. We need proper systems, mechanisms, and processes such as harmonization of our traffic laws, rationalized PUV routes, quality drivers and vehicles, PUV modernization, traffic education, regulation of establishments impeding traffic law, etc. With these systems in place, change can and would be felt immediately. We can give immediate relief to the traffic-stressed public. We have also noticed that our transport system, instead of moving people and goods, is being maintained and operated to a great extent to sustain the livelihood of people. This is what we term an inconvenient truth in our transport sector. Our land transport system does not prioritize commuters and sustainable mass transit, but instead caters to maintaining inefficient forms of transport which can only carry a few passengers so that the operators and drivers get to keep their jobs. Transport operators who seek to increase their profit by putting additional, even superfluous numbers of vehicles on our roads and new forms of transport so that more people would have livelihood at the expense of congesting our roads. No one is willing to sacrifice because jobs are on the line. This and many other factors contribute to the worsening traffic crisis we are now experiencing daily in our major cities. In Metro Manila alone, Traffic congestion is costing our economy about 3 billion pesos daily. When left unattended, the economic cost will balloon to 6 billion or more by 2030. Against this backdrop of an unresponsive organizational structure, lack of mechanisms giving immediate relief to the public, and a transport system that caters to various interest groups, we came up with House Bill number 6425, an act prescribing an urgent, comprehensive, and integrated land-based traffic management policy to effectively address the traffic congestion crisis in Metro Manila, Metro Cebu, and Metro Davao, and appropriating funds therefore. This measure does not seek the exercise of Section 23, Paragraph 2 of Article 6 of the 1987 Constitution on emergency powers, but the simple use of the plenary powers of Congress to provide an urgent, immediate, and comprehensive response to the traffic crisis. Each of the policies declared under Section 2 of the bill not only provide the standard, but is directed at the factors that cause traffic congestion. This bill will not be a one-time fix-all solution, but it will trigger change, especially as it challenges everyone to contribute and set aside personal interest. Hence the phrase, makiisa, makisama, magkaisa, in the short title of the bill. This bill is a product of 13 hearings, including the inspection and public hearings conducted by the committee in Cebu and Davao, with the participation of as many stakeholders as possible, every public and private stakeholder whose inputs and comments may be needed in each section of the bill. Based on the 13 hearings we had, the traffic crisis is limited to the transport sector. According to our transport officials, there is no crisis, much less a traffic crisis, in our ports and airports. Our maritime and aviation agencies have proven time and again that they can immediately address their operational issues. Projects are also underway to improve the efficiency in our ports and airports. Hence, we defined the traffic crisis under Section 3G of the bill as the prevailing and exponentially worsening land traffic congestion and gridlock and mass transportation shortage and inefficiency within the metropolitan areas and in the areas leading into and out of these areas that disrupt the country's economic and social growth and development, and recognized to be such nature, scope, and magnitude as to be considered a national emergency. As to coverage, we have observed the existence of traffic congestion in Metropolitan Manila, Metropolitan Cebu, and Davao City. Obviously, Metro Manila has the worst traffic situation. Next is Metro Cebu, though it got the headline last year for having the worst traffic in the world. The third would be Davao City, whose traffic situation is getting worse, especially in view of the attention it is getting lately. Hence, under Section 4 of the bill, we limited the application of the Traffic Crisis Act to the land-based traffic in Metro Manila, Metro Cebu, and Davao City. This is not exclusive, though. Similar systems and mechanisms may also be implemented in other cities and municipalities suffering from a traffic crisis. How do we solve the traffic crisis in the covered metropolitan areas? A, organizational structure. First is to establish a strong policy making, planning, programming, coordinating, implementing, regulating, and enforcement authority on land transportation. With the existing agencies that we have now, we believe that it is proper for the Secretary of Transportation to be designated as the de officio traffic chief during the effectivity of this act, and for him to have the power of supervision and control over MMDA, Metro Cebu Traffic Coordinating Council, created under Section 9, PNP Highway Patrol Group, LTO, LTFRB, Road Board, other executive offices with functions on land transportation regulation, and Davao Traffic Administrator appointed under Section 10. To ensure the effective management of land-based traffic, we also recognize the need for the President to abolish, create, split, group, or merge offices, transfer functions, equipment, properties, records, and personnel, and take other actions necessary to carry out the purposes of this Act. How about the local government units? They will have supporting roles. The traffic chief shall supervise all component LGUs with respect to the enforcement of policies and for the harmonization of all traffic rules. Once traffic rules and transport laws are harmonized by the traffic chief, the component LGUs are required to follow. As to powers and functions, the primary authority for the implementation of the plans, programs, and priority projects under the Traffic Crisis Act shall be with the traffic chief, who may delegate the same to the MMDA, Cebu Council, or the Davao Traffic Administrator. A more detailed enumeration of these powers and functions of the traffic chief can be found in Section 7 of the bill, as shown on the screen. As I said, in the interest of efficiency, the traffic chief may delegate any of these powers and authority to the MMDA, the Cebu Council, or to the Davao Traffic Administrator in coordination with the component LGUs. Under Section 9, the Cebu Council is composed of the local chief executives of Metro Cebu with a Metropolitan Cebu Traffic Coordinator to be appointed by them. Under Section 10, on the other hand, the traffic administrator shall be appointed by the traffic chief. With the powers given to the traffic chief and other officers in this act, we demanded accountability in Section 39. In case they will not do their job, they will be liable for malfeasance, misfeasance, and nonfeasance, and in relation to a particular priority project or policy or the implementation of this act, aside from violations that qualify as crimes under our penal laws. Moreover, we require the traffic chief and the other officers of the DOTR, MMDA, Cebu Traffic Coordinating Council, and the Davao Traffic Administrator to take at least once a week a mode of public transportation primarily used by the masses in order to monitor the traffic crisis. Priority projects. While implementing projects takes time, further delays are incurred when observing the usual procurement process. As such, under Section 27, we expanded the coverage of the emergency case under the Procurement Act so as to include the traffic crisis. The President is then authorized to negotiate contracts for priority projects. What will be the characteristics of these priority projects? In our hearings, we asked the DOTR to submit a list of their priority projects. However, what they submitted mostly were projects that have no direct relation to solving the land-based traffic crisis what we have now. We therefore provided the following conditions in the bill. 1, the priority projects must be aimed to immediately and effectively alleviate the traffic crisis, thereby promoting public interest. The terms and conditions of the priority projects must be advantageous to the government, and the traffic chief must submit a list of priority projects to Congress through the Oversight Committee to be created with the respective description, budgetary estimate, necessary right-of-ways, and other salient features within 90 days from the effectivity of the Act. The bidding or procurement of the priority projects shall then be conducted by the PSDBM. Subsequently, in the awarding of contracts, the contractors or project proponents must possess the following: proven competence, capability, and experience with similar projects, competent and qualified key personnel and sufficient and reliable equipment and facilities, sound financial capacity, and legal capacity consistent with Republic Act number 9184 and its IRR. As to the appropriation of funds, the amount needed for the implementation of this act, including the implementation of priority projects, shall be taken from 1. The Motor Vehicle Users Charge Special Vehicle Pollution Control Fund and current fiscal year's appropriation of the agencies involved in the implementation of the act. Thereafter, the amount needed shall be included in the GAA. Again, we maintain that we cannot have infrastructure and transportation projects alone. We also need systems, mechanisms, and processes to complement these projects and bring immediate relief to the public. What are the systems, mechanisms, and processes that we need? 1, harmonization of our laws. This is to avoid confusion, loopholes, and paralysis in responding to the traffic crisis. Again, as enumerated in Section 7, we have given the traffic chief the power to review and harmonize traffic regulations and ordinances issued by the covered agencies, to establish a single ticketing system and issue a comprehensive traffic rules and regulations handbook, and to ensure a single traffic coordinator in each of the metropolitan areas and implement a comprehensive and unified road use plan and a unified traffic management system to be followed by all component LGUs by harmonizing the provisions of the Local Government Code of 1991, the Department of Interior and Local Government Act of 1990, Republic Act number 7924 or the MMDA Charter, the Land Transportation and Traffic Code, and the Revised Administrative Code of 1987. This bill is also our chance to address basic issues. If we simplify the complex traffic problem, what we will have is the driver, vehicle, and route. Neglecting the proper regulation of our drivers leads to unskilled, drunk and drug drivers that cause menace and accidents and that load, unload, and park their cars everywhere they see fit. Hence, under Section 24 of the bill, all professional drivers of PUVs shall undergo free testing and examination starting January 1, 2018. Only the drivers who pass the new test shall be allowed to operate PUVs. On the other hand, neglecting the proper regulation of the vehicles plying our roads leads to unsafe vehicles that cause harm and inconvenience to people, not to mention their health risk. Hence, to ensure roadworthiness of our vehicles, Section 25 provides that the LTO will conduct roadworthiness testing of all PUVs within 90 days from the effectivity of the bill. Finally, neglecting the proper regulation of our routes leads to a responsive and arbitrary issuance of franchises that do not cater to the actual needs of the riding public. Hence, under Section 15, we mandated the conduct by the LTFRB of route rationalization for PUVs within 6 months from the effective date of the bill. It will include, among others, the integration of various transport modes, identification of routes, provision of a dispatching mechanism, and the determination of the size, type, and number of PUVs needed for a particular demand. The traffic chief shall prescribe rules for large mixed-use property developments to ensure long-term sustainability and avoid disturbance to adjoining communities and public convenience, and for optimization of land use and transportation, development to promote urban dispersal to decongest the metro areas and provide direction to urban growth and expansion. You can see constructions and establishments, malls for example, left and right, that have no regard to the disturbance they create on our roads. We therefore see it necessary under Section 21 for the traffic chief to approve or disapprove all programs and projects proposed by LGUs, DPWH, other government offices within the metropolitan areas, and private persons or enterprises, where such projects are determined to have potential adverse effects on traffic flow and road use. The approval of the traffic chief shall take the form of a development clearance certificate that shall be issued prior to any land development and shall be in lieu of all other permits except the ECC issued by the DNR. Moreover, it is necessary for the traffic chief in the LGU concerned to ensure the compliance of establishment with the traffic impact plan, the mandated setbacks, provisions for sufficient vehicle parking, and other requirements of the National Building Code. Private subdivisions or village roads shall be identified to serve as additional access points known as friendship routes, provided that there is conduct of public consultation with the affected residents, reasonable determination that there are no other public route other than the proposed friendship routes, implementation by government of other remedial measures such as road and sidewalk clearing in the contiguous public roads, and exercise by a private road owner of the option to impose toll fees in the form of selling pass-through stickers to pay for road maintenance and security without prejudice to the government's right to expropriate. Traffic education. This is to ensure that the next generation of Filipinos will be disciplined and law-abiding citizens on our roads. A program for drivers' education and for road and pedestrian etiquette education shall be developed and incorporated as a mandatory subject in the senior high school curriculum. PUB operator obligation. Similarly, to instill discipline and ensure the quality of our drivers, PUV operators are required under Section 19 to observe the DOLE appropriate work shift for the different classes of PUVs, comply with all labor laws and standards, including the payment of drivers of a minimum prescribed monthly salary, and maintain in a publicly accessible website a list of all drivers in their employ, as well as their franchise number and the units. Under Section 13 of the bill, the traffic chief shall, in consultation with the MMDA, Cebu Council, and or Davao Administrator, in the affected private stakeholders, formulate a separate traffic management plan for each of the metropolitan areas. The TMP must sufficiently detail all the systems and mechanisms I have previously mentioned and other concrete steps to immediately alleviate the traffic crisis in a measurable, quantifiable manner. The TMP should include the following minimum components as shown on the screen. The committee was the first in acknowledging that there is a crisis within the traffic crisis, which we call the displacement crisis. This pertains to the drivers and employees of PUVs who will be displaced by the rationalization of our routes. Hence, under Section 23 of the bill, one support mechanism we provided is giving the following assistance to the displaced transport workers. One, the SWD shall extend financial assistance using available social protection programs and services. TESDA shall prioritize the training of affected employees in its training courses. DOLE and POA shall assist them in looking for employment, whether here or abroad. Displaced employees shall be entitled to separation pay as mandated under the Labor Code, and the legal dependents of affected employees shall be qualified for scholarship from the government in accordance with the rules and regulations of the DSWD, DepEd, or TESDA. Moreover, under Section 22 of the bill, PUB operators affected shall be compensated based on the number of units affected or rendered redundant. There is also a one-time compensation for loss of income. Moreover, under Section 26, they may also avail of the financial assistance from the DBP to enable them to modernize their units. Solving the traffic crisis will also necessitate the support of other offices not directly involved in traffic management. One such mechanism would be the support of the judiciary in two major ways. First, under Section 34, a special traffic crisis court shall be created in the covered metropolitan areas which shall have jurisdiction to expeditiously resolve all actions emanating from the Act. Second, under Section 35 of the bill, TROs and preliminary injunctions, except from the Supreme Court, and the special traffic crisis courts are prohibited to be issued against priority projects, programs, and policies emanating from the Act. In one of our hearings, the judiciary, through Deputy Court Administrator Raul Villanueva, support these provisions. Oversight and transparency. A joint congressional oversight committee will be created under Section 12 to monitor the faithful implementation of the law. It will be composed of 8 legislators: 1, Senate President; 2, Speaker of the House of Representatives; 3, Chairperson of the Committee on Public Services of the Senate; 4, Chairperson of the Committee on Transportation of the House of Representatives; 5, Chairperson of the Committee on Finance of the Senate; 6, Chairperson of the Committee on Appropriations of the House of Representatives; 7, Member of the Committee on Public Services of the Senate; 8, Member of the Committee on Transportation of the House of Representatives. The Oversight Committee shall constitute an executive committee to be headed by an executive director who shall oversee the day-to-day coordination with the concerned public officers and stakeholders. The bill also addresses the need for public disclosure to respect the people's right to information. The authority granted under the Traffic Crisis Act shall be valid for 3 years from the effectivity of the Act, unless sooner withdrawn by Congress. We believe that within this period, substantial reforms and gains can already be achieved. The period will also go beyond the term of 17th Congress, thereby affording the 18th Congress the opportunity to review the implementation of the law with sufficient time frame. Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleagues, what I presented so far is just a summary of the contents of the bill. Many of us may find that there are many differences, additions, and new concepts in this bill compared to prevailing suggestions on traffic solutions. When you read news reports and the sentiments in social media, asking emergency power from Congress has been the popular byword these days. Sobrang traffic, kailangan ng emergency powers yan. Bakit matraffic pa rin? Dahil hindi pa binibigay ng Kongreso ang emergency powers. Kailangan ng emergency powers sa procurement, sa implementation ng infrastructure projects, sa ganito at sa ganyan. Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleagues, emergency powers has been the byword, but honestly, our level of understanding of the need for it differs. More often than not, we hastily mention emergency powers without even knowing the things you need emergency powers for. We mention emergency powers and point fingers without even thinking that each individual person has to sacrifice to address traffic congestion. Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleagues, that is why we took time and effort to craft this bill. We too considered what was popular, but we deemed it more important to delve deeper into what should be done with the present organizational structure in the existing systems, mechanism, and processes that trigger the chaos we are in. And this bill is the product. It calls for the exercise of our plenary powers to provide an urgent, immediate, and comprehensive response to the traffic crisis. I humbly ask you to read the bill over and over and allow it to convince you into merit your support and vote. Makiisa, makisama, at magkaisa din tayo, Mr. Speaker. My distinguished colleagues, hence, I move for the approval by this body of House Bill number 6425. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we suspend consideration House Bill 6425. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection to the motion? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Speaker,
Yes,
the
Majority
House is
Leader.
in receipt from the Office of the President a copy of the oath of office of Herminio Harry L. Roque as Presidential Spokesperson, Office of the President. Pursuant thereto, Mr. Speaker, I move that the Herminio Harry L. Roque be dropped from the rolls of members effective November 6, 2017.
Any objection to the motion? The chair is none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we designate the following members, the Bicameral Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of House Bill number 6452 and Senate Bill number 1354 on the establishment of a national mental health policy. Number 1, Representative Angelina D. L. Tan, Representative Romero S. Kimbo, Representative Cristina Roa Puno, Representative Rosano Rufino B. Biazon, Representative Ron P. Salo, Representative Arlene Arcillas, and Representative Edsel Lagman. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection to the motion? The chair is none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we designate the following members to the Bicameral Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of the House Bill number 6579 and Senate Bill 1311 on the creation of the Ease of Doing Business Commission. The following: Representative Ferginel G. Beron, Representative Javier Jesus D. Romualdo, Representative Rosana V. Vergara, Representative Manuel F. Subiri, Representative Vilma Santos Recto, Representative Winston Castelo, Representative Gus S. Tambunting, Representative Luis Raymond Villaperte Jr., Representative Jose Christopher Y. Belmonte, Representative Arthur C. Yap, Representative Carlo Alexi B. Nograles, Representative Bernadette Herrera D., and Representative Arlene B. Arcillas. So moved, Sir Speaker.
Any objection to the motion? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we designate the following members to the Bicameral Conference Committee on the disagreeing votes on the House Bill number 6215, the fiscal year 2018 General Appropriations Bill. Representative Carlo Alexi B. Nograles, Representative Rodolfo C. Fariñas, Representative Maria Carmen S. Zamora, Representative Federico S. Sandoval II, Representative Dakila Carla E. Cua, Representative Elenita Milagros Ermita Buhayin, Representative Juan Pablo P. Bondoc, Representative Reynaldo V. Umali, Representative Mark Aeron H. Sambar, and Representative Danilo E. Suarez. So moved. Please.
Is there any objection to the motion? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we include additional co-authors to House Bill numbers 6686, 6702, 6707, 6708, 6710, and 6714, and resolution of both houses number 8 as contained in the list to be submitted by the Committee on Rules. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection to the motion? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize the following guests: Rico Lebico, Jean Claudine Castillo, R.M. Venus
Please
Galban,
rise to be
Aliyah
recognized.
Ambos, Alina Ambos, Junela Cruz, John Paul Calubag, Kizia Herrera, J. Ann Macarilay, Jojo Tan Espina, Kevin Garnett Guedron, Ziril Lagahit, Ira Horca, Shai Buencosejo, Princess Planes, Fernand Yanga, Arzon Britannico, Veniel Pastor Fide, and Venier Danke, guest of the Assistant Majority Leader, Arlene Neil J. Abayon III. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
Welcome to the House of Representatives.
Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize the following guests: Mr. Taro Hiray, Mr. Mark
Please
Bautista,
rise to be recognized.
Ms. Maria Ayazi, Attorney Alvin Lorenzo, guests of Honorable Teodoro Ted Montoro, the party list Aasenso. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
Welcome to the House of Representatives.
Mr. Speaker, I move to approve the journal dated number 41, dated November 28, 2017. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection to the motion? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move to suspend the session for a few minutes.
Session is suspended.
Mr. Speaker, I move to adjourn session.
Session resume. Majority Leader.
Saan yung listahan? Sige, dali mo muna sa kanya.
Session is suspended for 1 minute.
Okay naman.
Suspend mo naman. Meron pa kung Bicam sa train. Patayin na lang natin.
Luis Campos, hindi Luis ito.
Nadagdag na interpellant sa... Ay! Kasi... Ano?
Session resumed.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we designate the following members to the Bicameral Conference Committee on the disagreeing provision of House Bill number 5636 and Senate Bill number 1592, titled Tax Reform for Acceleration and Inclusion, the TRAIN Act. The following members: Representative Dakila Carlo E. Cua, Representative Majority Leader Rodolfo C. Fariñas, Representative Sharon S. Garin, Representative Romero Miro S. Kimbo, Representative Gus S. Tambunting, Representative Xavier Jesus D. Romualdo, and Representative Danilo E. Suarez. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection to the motion? The chair is none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move to adjourn session until Monday, December 4, to 4 p.m. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
Session adjourned. We will resume December 4 p.m.
Wala kami ibang, yan lang yung copy. O yan lang, diniretso lang dito sa